You're welcome to Good Morning Anambra show. This morning we would like to congratulate Anambra State government under the visionary leadership of Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo for taking a bold step on Saturday, January 18, 2025, to sign into law the Homeland Security Law and, of course, inauguration of Operation Udogachi. We are here this morning to x-ray these and more on Good Morning Anambra show. You're welcome to the show. And I have some of our lawmakers in the studio this morning to talk about this and to let us know, what Anambra people need to understand and learn from what is going on in the state. Because there's this saying that security is every man's business. I'd like to welcome to the studio the Honorable Member representing Agwata 2 Constituency, Chairman House Committee on Health, Honorable Tony Mobike. It's good to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers.
I also welcome to the studio the member, Anambra State House of Assembly, representing Anocha 2 Constituency. He's also the Chairman House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Chairman House Committee on Media and Publicity, Right Honorable Ejike Okechukwu. You're welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you, and viewers at home, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Now, let me begin with you, Mobike. There is a great thing, because when the governor came up with that he made a proposal that he's going to sign this into law. There are some comments from some quarters that this is long overdue. Some are saying that why wait till now? So when this came up, or when this happened on Saturday, how do you feel as a lawmaker in the state?
Yeah, thank you. As a lawmaker, when this came up, I was very happy, excited, and very, very extremely optimistic. But the point is, the effort of the government has been ongoing in fighting this scourge. We all know that this issue of insecurity in Anambra State has been a front burner for a very long time. But the truth is that the government has been fighting and fighting. Governor Soludo and his administration has been there fighting this scourge. The House of Assembly has been there helping the governor through enabling legislations. We've amended certain legislations before, okay, to help, when we dealt with cultism in Anambra State. It's part of fighting insecurity. And so this fight has been ongoing. It didn't start today. But what happened is that the governor decided to change gears. You understand? He decided to take it to a different level, because initially, he's used what I'll call a carrot and stick approach, because we know that these people doing these things, they're not from the air. They are brothers, So the governor extended a hand of friendship. He told them, come out from the bush. We're going to help you. We're going to establish you. We're going to put you back into the mainstream of the society. There's a lot of programs for the youth, 1 Youth 2 Scale, and a lot of them. So, but because a lot of them has been adamant, they decided they continue to stay in the bush, causing mayhem. The governor decided to take it to another level. Okay, and that is why we have this new law. Right. So, having arrived here, for me, it's a totally new dawn, and I'm happy for it. Okay,
now, this is not the first time Anambra State is in the news, and it's not just Anambra State. Every other state in Nigeria, faces one form of challenge or the other, including insecurity. Now, Nobuofi, I don't know. There's a statement made by the governor on Saturday during his speech after the inauguration of Udogachi that he appreciated the previous administration especially what they did as regards insecurity in the state. And he promised to make Anambra State the safest in Nigeria. So what's your take concerning that statement, knowing that Anambra State has been adjudged before as the safest in Nigeria?
You see, crime and criminal activities are all part of the society. And they keep changing their modus operandi and it is now left for the government to change as they are changing. So yes, Mr. Governor made mention of the efforts made by the previous administration in combating crimes in Anambra State, and he also promised us a crime-free Anambra State going forward. I don't have any reasons not to believe him, because if you go through this new law as passed by the State House of Assembly, you will see that the ingredients needed in fighting crime in its nature now, that hitherto had been missing in the state, are now in place for them. Take, for instance, one typical example is this. You see, our social values are so lost that now we don't ask the source of somebody's wealth. We only celebrate wealth, no matter how ill-gotten. But this law empowers the security agencies to, if they see you riding a car that is questionable, that they feel you cannot afford buying, they have the powers under this law to ask you questions. What do you do for a living? And even go forward to investigate to make sure that whatever thing you said is true. Because you see, the governor even mentioned it too, that even the churches, the clergies, are not helping matters. You see somebody that in the Igbo land before now, wealth used to have history. You will say that this man, that he was one boy to Okeke, who is an importer in our nature. And the Oga settled him after boy, and he started his own. You see the trace of how he made his money, or that he inherited his father's wealth.
Even the way he spent.
Even the way, any money that is made through hard work, you can't see them throwing it in bundles. It is not done. So, and these days, even the church, they will see such a person, corner the person, take him to any of the churches, give him one title or the other. And what message are we passing to the others? That whatever thing this one did to make this money is justified before the society. So, but under this law now, people should ask questions. Okay. Before now, we used to ask questions. This man is rich. But it is no longer in our society. That's what this law seems to bring back. So the law, as it is, and the launch of Agune Chamber and the Operation Udogachi, because Operation Udogachi is kind of an operation set out for all the security agencies in Anambra State. They should, I think our people should understand it. Udogachi is not just for Agune Chamber. Okay. It is a kind of a joint task force comprising both the army, the navy, the police, civil defense, Agune Chamber, and all. So they will form a team and form different blocks that will be able to make sure that we have a crime-free society.
All right. Before actually we look at this law, Mobike, I would want you to clear in the Anambra on, you know, before now we used to have AVG. We have Anambra Central, we have in various communities. Now, what's the difference, or what has changed with the coming of Agone Chamber and, of course, the signing into law of the Security Homeland?
Yes. Actually, the signing into law of the Anambra State Homeland Security Law 2025 repeals the last, you will see it in the one of, I think the last section of that law, the last clause, the last section of that law repeals the Anambra Group Vigilante Law, which established the AVG. So, so what it means is that right now there's no AVG. There's nothing called AVG in Anambra State. And I think the public should know that. It's also part of how you will identify an operative of Agune Chamber. Because Agune Chamber, they carry, the law states that they have to carry an identification that will state their name, their address, okay, their badge number, okay, and it's going to have a barcode as well as their fingerprint with a picture signed, okay, by the police. So, and when somebody comes to you and says that he is AVG, you look at that, this time around, look at that person twice. Because the operatives of Agune Chamber knows that AVG is gone. So the public should know there's nothing like AVG currently. What we have now in Anambra State is the Agone Chamber, that is established by this law.
Okay, just like he was saying earlier, how is the operation going to be between the Agone Chamber, the Nigerian police, the army, like he said, and all whatnot? So please explain to our people.
Yeah, like my honorable colleague explained earlier, it's going to be a joint task force. Okay. It's not a task force, okay, but that's the, it's going to be similar to that. So it's going to be a collaborative approach that the security agencies will take now. The Agone Chamber is going to work together with the police, the army, the navy, the DSS, the civil defense, and all other security agencies, okay, to rid our state of criminals and criminal activities. So, of course, when you read that law in Section 3 that established the Agone Chamber, it comes down to 4, the functions, 5, the powers. When you read it, under the functions, you see how they operate, okay? The powers they have, the rights they have, okay? When they actually make arrest, for instance, they are supposed to hand over the suspect to the police, okay? So this is supposed to be these security agencies working together, hand in hand, okay? And of course, every other thing that has to do with Agone Chamber has been synchronized to be tailored and monitored by the law. So they have to operate, you know, as per the law, but working together with the other security agencies to achieve the result. Okay.
Now, for an average Anambra, they want to see something different from what they used to see. You know, last year there are so many stories around about the old, let me call them old, established vigilantes or whatever name they had. Now, there's this, under the powers given to this Agone Chamber, they have the right or they have the powers to pursue somebody. If they are pursuing somebody and the person runs into a compound, they have the right to go into that compound and search. But there was an incident that happened, which I think I said it earlier to you, you know, a situation where you walk into a compound and you get somebody, maybe the person did not see who ran into the compound and started asking questions. You know, what happens in such situation? Or what's the assurance Anambra is going to get that this is going to, you know, be something they have to work with? You know, like, you come into my compound, I help you to ease your job for you.
The issue of Agone Chamber and their modes of operation are well stipulated in the law. Okay. And I don't see them acting outside this law. It won't happen because there are areas where the law even frown at them acting outside the law. And the law itself is capable of punishing any Agone Chamber that is found going against the law. Okay. The issue is that this law tends to achieve one major thing. Before now, it used to be, if you see something, say something. But with this law, it is now, if you see something, you must say something. Before now, you are at liberty to either say or not. But with this law, you must. Because, okay, now, if you go to Section 13 of this law, where it talks about duties of to make monthly security reports. That is the function given to the prisoners of all the communities. That they must make monthly security reports of the happenings within their community. And you see,
I think there's a price tag to that.
Not a price tag yet. No PG can achieve that alone. No PG can achieve that alone. But with his subordinates in the community, with the village chairman, with some other people working in the community, they must, if they do anymore, they don't make the security report. I will read the section that stipulates the punishment for them. But this security report will contain such information as number one, the names of the people arrested within that month in the community. Okay. 2, names of suspects within the community. 3, people that just entered the community and began to build houses without any meaningful source of income, any known source of income. 4, the names and the particulars of all the new faces that just came into the community, and so on and so forth.
People that stay in the forest.
And the people that are staying in the forest, and wherever in the community there is established a camp for crime or criminal activities, or even the houses that are being used, they are now duty bound under this law to make it open. If they don't, Section 13(2) says, any prisoner who fails to make the report as required under subsection 1 of this section shall be guilty of misconduct and shall be liable to have his recognition by the state government withdrawn. That is 1. Then number 2, any PG who parades himself as such after his recognition has been withdrawn by the state government commits an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of 2 years or fine of 5 million. So this is no longer a joke. It is not if I want to say something, I will say. If I don't want to say something, I will swallow it. No. Even if it is your child that is recalcitrant, that is into crime, you are duty bound to report him. And this is going back to whom we are, whom we used to be. Before now, an average women that I don't even know whom they were or whom they are flogged me on the road because I was doing one bad thing or the other growing up. But these days, if you do it, all these slave mothers that have turned into slave queens, turned into slave mothers, will now even go and fight that other woman for correcting his erroneous child. It is not, it wasn't there before. It is not the way we lived.
That was a time of communal
life. But that is what we pride ourselves with today. Even the Ndiocha, we are trying to emulate the type of communal lifestyle we used to live. But these days, with the introduction of social media and other things.
All right, now, from what you just said, there's this. We all know that before now, the police always say that you are my friend. Police is your friend. When you see something, say something. But there is this are not eager to come up with information that can help security agencies. That's a known fact. Owing that, sometimes they say, we say something, you report something, and the next thing, you are the target. Maybe the information wasn't managed properly, What will happen? How is Anambra going to, see that there is a change and key in to bringing information? Because this is a fact. I don't know.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. That has been a problem with law enforcement, not only in Nigeria, but so many places around the world. But this law envisaged that situation, and Anambra State government, the House of Assembly, are also aware of that situation. And what happened is that right now, there are toll-free anonymous numbers that you can call to make reports. You have 5111, you have 112. There's also a 080 number. I don't have it offhand, but it's all there. If you look at, when you see any Agune Chamber vehicle, all those numbers will be written boldly on them. So you don't really have to walk into a police station to make a report, okay? But I also have to tell you that we also have confidence in the police of today, okay? Because these things happened in the past doesn't mean that they continue to happen. The police of today has changed, and the police as an institution too has taken steps to reform themselves. So I can authoritatively tell you that today we are confident in the police. Okay, if you were at the ICC when the inauguration took place, you listen to the Commissioner of Police speak, and you see that the police too are equally ready to fight this scourge. So you can go to the police. If you're not comfortable going to the police, you can use any of the anonymous numbers, and there are other ways that you can make this report. If you look at it like my honorable colleague just said, there is enormous responsibility that is placed on the PG of every community, okay? And if you go through the law too, part of it goes to leadership of estates where it is kind of difficult for the PG to reach those estates, like in Onitsha, Mbo, the metropolitan areas of Anambra State. These leaders, you can also go to them and make your report. Okay, you have your representative in the House of Assembly. You also have you have several different representatives. You also have the mayors of your local government. So there are different strata of authorities that you can go and make a report. And that is where what you said earlier comes in. For whistleblowing, the government has also placed a price that when you provide such information that successfully leads to a successful arrest, or break of a known syndicate, there's something there for you. So I don't think that our people should be afraid now. There are different ways you can make this report, and then you're sure that your identity is anonymous.
All right, now...
Sorry, going forward, adding something to what you just said. Go ahead. Yes, you see, we have this law is supposed to work hand in hand with other laws of the land. It's not just about the Anambra Homeland Security Law. Now, take for instance, we have an enactment of the National Assembly, that is the Whistleblowers Act. It is still there, that gives a complete, what they call it, to the whistleblowers, that they cannot under any guise be disclosed. So any law enforcement agent or agency that is disclosing the identity of anybody that gives vital information on getting these criminals is already committing a crime under the law, and they must face the punishment as stipulated by the law. So that's another area I want us to to support what he said.
All right, in case you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Anambra, and I have some of our lawmakers in the studio to talk about the newly signed into law. That's the Homeland Security Law 2025, and it's just all about all Anambra people need to know, and even people living in Anambra, what they need to know and understand about the new law. We take a very short break here. The program returns after now. Do join us again.
Anambra ga n'iru na ọ bụrụ na udo adịghị, ichekwa ndụ bụ ihe kacha mkpa n'ihi na mmepe bara uru enweghị isi ma ọ bụrụ na enweghị udo. Soludo kwadoro ime ka obodo anyị baa ọgaranya, ka ndị bi na ya na ndị na-eweta ego nwee ntụkwasị obi ibi, ịrụ ọrụ, itinye ego, izu ike na ịnụ ụtọ ndụ. Kemgbe o bidoro ọrụ, ọ na-ekwu maka mkpa ọ dị iji dozie ọdịdị ọjọọ n'obodo site na mkpọrọgwụ ya. Ọ mere anyị jide aka anyị lee anya n'ime ihe omume inye aka n'akwa iwu nke a na-akpọ Anambra State Homeland Security Law 2025, nke na-eme ka eguzobe otu nchekwa steeti a na-akpọ agụ na-eche mba. O bidogo ọrụ a na-akpọ udo ga-achị ma bidokwa ikesa ụgbọala ọrụ nchekwa nke dị narị abụọ wee tinyere nkwado ọ na-enyebu otu nchekwa niile dị na steeti anyị. Afa mba maka ezidebe ego anyị na-arụ obodo anyị ka ọ dị mma maka onye ọbụla, maka udo ga-achịrị na Anambra steeti n'ihi na anyị na-eso Soludo.
There's assurance that you are free to come up with information that will make Anambra great again, security-wise. And you just saw some phone lines that you can use to call. I think later we are going to bring them up once again for you to take note of them and, of course, make calls or send messages where necessary. In the studio, I still have with me Honorable Tony Mobike, the member representing Agwatatu constituency and Chairman House Committee on Health. I also have Right Honorable Ejike Okechukwu, who is the member Anambra State House of Assembly representing Anochatu constituency. He's also the Chairman Committee, House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, and Chairman House Committee on Media and Publicity. Still talking about the recently signed into law, the Homeland Security Law 2025. Now, Mobike, we know that a lot of people are not indigents of Anambra State. Some people are guests, let me put it that way. And for the past, for some time now, some reports coming up from people arrested, you know, most of them are not in the Anambra. Now, if you would help us for people to understand that this law is not just for the Anambra, it covers both people living in Anambra State and not in the Anambra. You know, let them understand what they need to know concerning the law and how it's going to affect everybody.
Yeah, thank you. If you look at the name of this law, it says Anambra State Homeland Security Law 2025. So the law is not about who you are or about where you come from. It's about Anambra State. So the idea is to secure Anambra State. Okay, so yes, like rightly said, statistics coming from arrested individuals in the past shows that majority of the people who commit these crimes are not indigenous of Anambra State. But be that as it may, we're not saying that non-indigenous are all criminals. Anambra State is a home of hospitality. Anambra State is a state that welcomes everyone, whether you are from Anambra, whether you're from an Igbo person, whether you're non-Igbo, whether you're non-Nigerian. Anambra State opens for everybody. That is why one of the core objectives of this government is to make Anambra State a livable and prosperous homeland. Now, if you're not an indigent of Anambra State, all we demand from you is to be law-abiding. And if you say something, say something. If you do these two things, you are okay. Be law-abiding yourself, go about your business or your work. No one is going to come after you for offenses you did not commit. And if you see something, say something. Now, there's a part of this law there's a section of this law that requires landlords and owners of commercial properties to take inventory, take a valid ID card.
Section 14.
Yeah. Section 14. Duty on landlords and proprietors of hotels, hostels, lodges, and such likes and related offenses. So in this section, landlords are required to take an inventory of their guests, of their tenants. Okay, so what it means is that if you have someone with, like, if I have a building in Oka, for instance, and I have tenants from a Ebonyi State, they have to provide their ID card. And when we talk about ID card, the law will define what a valid ID card should be. It's not just any ID card you print behind your house. No, it must be government officially recognized ID cards. It could be either be your international passport, it could be your national ID card, it could be your driver's license,
or the voter's card,
and such likes. Okay, so where I'm driving at is, as a non-indigent, they will request it from you. You provide it, and make sure that you tell the landlord if you're going to have a co-tenant. The landlord must be aware. The landlord also has a duty to ask, because ignorance of the law is not an excuse. If you read that section very well, it prescribes serious deterrent in terms of fine or prison sentence that could be up to 25 years for anybody that goes foul of this section. If a crime is committed in your property, you can't come and say you don't know. Okay, if it's a property, you have a problem. If you didn't follow what the law says.
When I saw that, I read through that law and I noted something down there. This is where data is very important. And I know that we are supposed to have gone far when it comes to data collection. But Nigeria somehow, I don't know what is happening to us. Now, the data collection that we are talking about here, if it's in other clients, when you travel, once they punch button, they see your face and stuff like that. So I don't know.
You see, from what my colleague said.
Okay.
I made mention of the duty of the monthly report.
Okay.
And
by President
the
Generals.
President Generals, and that report involves data collection.
Okay.
Because, like this section 14 now rightly pointed out, that the landlord or owner of any property, before letting out his property, must demand and obtain from the proposed tenant a copy of valid means of identification of the tenant with his phone number, 2, details of his occupation, where applicable, his place of work, and so should be submitted to the President General for onward transmission to the local government, even to the state, so that all these data will be collected of all these people living in Anambra State. Even like I said, even new faces that enters any community, the PG and his subordinates are duty bound of getting such information of those people and reporting them, so that at any particular point in time, the people saddled with the responsibility of making sure that we have a crime-free society will be able to know that this place has so and so number of foreigners. So they will be at alert.
What you're saying, I've seen this in my village one day. I saw one young man. I know him. He's from my village. So he was coming from one house and they were quarreling. You know what the quarrel was? He went there with a book to collect names of people living there that are not from the village. So the person refused and they started quarreling.
This is why the police and the other security agencies were saying that they don't have enough laws backing certain actions that they are going to take.
Okay, so now the laws are
there. Now the laws are here.
Okay, now what happens to people, to landlords that before this time that don't have such?
No, they have to, because that you didn't have it doesn't mean that you cannot get it now.
Okay.
You will immediately, since the law became effective 2 days ago. Okay. And the ignorance of the law is no defense, and that's why we make it point of duty to go around the stations to sensitize our people and make them to know that this law is in place and that they must comply 100% with the provisions of this law. Now, if you go to 14.2, it says that any person, this is punishment for the landlord, any person who let out his property without obtaining a valid means of identification from the tenant or the information required under subsection 1 of this section, or who fails to submit a copy of the means of identification of such other information as required under subsection 1 of this section, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of 1 year with an option of fine for 5 million naira or both.
And that is for landlord.
For landlord.
If you go further, if you read further now, you see where he's talking about people who inhabit the forest.
Okay.
Even the operators of hotels, because this law says that all the commercial places, be it hotel, be it hostel, be it an inn, be it whatever, must have CCTV cameras installed in their establishments. A good example is that the art of the hotel must be strategically at the reception to capture the faces of people entering the hotel and leaving the hotel. It is not to witch hunt anybody. If you want to go to a hotel to have your own good time, no problem. So far, you are not a criminal. But you see, once these crimes are committed, ransom paid, where do they retire?
These are normal things done in developed clients.
Yes, and for you to go check into a hotel, you must deposit your means of identification. They must have a copy of it.
Okay.
Must. It is now part of the law. If a hotel proprietor or a hotel owner refuses to do that, there is punishment for it. And that's what makes it a crime. If a hostel owner refuses to do that, there is a punishment for that person. We are not talking about putting cameras in the rooms or in the hostel rooms. No, it is within the surrounding to capture whatever that is happening. So the law now gives the police and the other security agencies, Agone Chamber inclusive, of that conducive atmosphere and the such powers to, that the issue of security is in the exclusive list of the 1999 Constitution, because we don't have state police and there was not. But even some of these law enforcement agents are finding it even difficult to do it all alone. They don't have enough manpowers. They don't have enough arms and ammunition to do that. So, and they don't have enough laws, enabling laws to enable them to do those things. Because any new day comes with any new form of crime. Even the world over, there are no countries without crime. Any new day, the criminals must devise means of the most change pattern of committing crimes. So, and what it means is that once they change, the security agency will have to change with them. And we, the lawmakers, will change with them too by providing them with enabling laws. Because before now, there were no cybercrime law. But now, there is a Cybercrime Act enacted by the National Assembly. So, all these things are because now we have cyber crimes.
All right, Bobby, there's something you wanted to say.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Section 15 of this law that talks about property offenses in relation to kidnapping and banditry. So here is telling you, I will just read, if you permit me.
Go on.
15.1 says, any person being the owner of any land, whether or not in a forest or of any building, or a person in control of any such land or building, who allows such land or building to be occupied as a camp or settlement, or used for purpose of perpetrating or aiding kidnapping, detention of kidnapped victims, demanding or collection of ransom in relation to kidnapping, or any other crime in furtherance of kidnapping, or any form of banditry, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of 25 years without an option of fine. There's no option of fine. So it's like what happened in Isiago, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, where a building was, a compound was taken over by the government because it was used to harbor kidnappers. Okay, so whoever owns that property is going in for 25 years. That's what it is. So if you own a land, or if it is a communal land that has turned into a forest, we have several of such forests in Anambra State here. The community should know who are inhabiting that forest. If you are not a law enforcement officer, police, army, you have no business living inside the bush. If you are living inside the bush, you're a criminal. And that's what the law says. And if it is found out that people inhabiting that bush and they're committing kidnapping, banditry, using it to harbor kidnapping, victims of whatsoever, once it is found out, number one is that the community or the owner will relinquish that to the state. Number two is that the owner of such a property is liable upon conviction to a prison term of 25 years with no option of fine. So it is serious. It's something that every community and every landowner has to look at.
All right, quickly, before we wrap up, because of our time, I don't know if there are provisions for punishment of, some Agone chambers that may be, show high-handedness in their duties. I don't know.
Yes, there are provisions.
Checks and balances,
yes, because I said it before that this law has a way of even punishing the members of Agone Chamber that acted outside this law. But I think we still have a whole lot in this law to discuss about, because we've not talked about
is it continuing?
we've not talked about that offense involving Ndi Zenwai and the Okite and the Nwoke. This law has provisions for them, and those involves use of religious places to commit crime. We've not discussed about it. We've not discussed about human parts, crimes involving human parts, and a whole lot of it. So I still believe that subsequently, when we come around again on the, if it is in the language of the parliament, we say on the next adjourned date.
All right. All right, there's no problem. Okay. Actually, we've really touched a lot, because when they say there is law, there are people to obey, and we pray and hope that this law should be obeyed to the last, and of course, Anambra shall be great again, security-wise, and our people will begin to come home. People that are afraid to come back home will always come home. I would like to appreciate you in no small measure, honorable members in the studio, Honorable Ejike Okechukwu. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you, Ifi.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Tony Moabike, for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, and that's it on Good Morning Anambra show for today. Let's do this again tomorrow. It's a goodbye from here.